everybody, welcome back to another session of the Hopry. I'm Mark Starr.
I'm Tim Pratt.
And we actually had to pour today's beer right after popping the cap because it slowly started to work its way up out of the bottle. But this is another beer from Belgium. It's another sour ale, which we tend to like to review when we get together. But this is the Dolle Oerbier Reserva. This one was bottled in 2009. As you can see, it does come in the small 11.2 ounce bottle. So,
and from what we know, I mean, it's brewed in incredibly small batches. Yep. So you're not going to put it in a big bottle. There just won't really be all that much to go around. Yep. But I think that's kind of one of Dolle's calling cards, is that they do produce very small batches, very artisanal beers, and
I've liked most of the ones that I've
had. They've all been very, very solid. Mm-hmm. Not always exactly technically solid on what the style is, but they don't really fit a lot of styles. Admittedly, I think they don't really necessarily fit a lot of styles. But we were just talking about before this session got going that can't really think the last time either one of us have had a sour beer that clocks in at 13% ABV. But
is this one 13? I thought it was. Yeah, Jesus, man.
13% ABV on this thing. So, hey, we've got one in front of us now. Yeah. And frankly, that's exciting or terrifying, one of the two.
Well, I know this one is, obviously it's a barrel-aged version of their regular Oerbier, which just means original beer. But this one's been aged in Bordeaux casks. So, it's probably going to give it a little bit of a wine-like vinous character. Mm-hmm. It is tart, which the original Oerbier is not. This one is supposed to be funky and tart and sour and all the things that I guess we'll find out when we smell it and taste it. So let's do that. Let's well, first of all, it's got that
color's nice. It's a little cloudy. It is cloudy. Some of the other sours that we've reviewed on the show have been just brilliantly ruby brown. Yeah. This one looks like it could be, but it's just not.
It's a little hazy.
Yeah, not that it's, off-putting. Yep. It's not murky. It's not pond water. It's just not quite as, crystal clear as some of the sours that we've had. But
really nice head. I mean, if you look at the bubbles on there, you talk about consistent size. Yeah. Sometimes you might see a big bubble here and there. Not really the case with this one. No. Very, very, well-made beer, just at least from the way it looks.
You give that a simple light swirl, and that thing just jumps up to, a finger and a half, 2 fingers ahead. So, I mean, it's... it's sticking around and it's not going anywhere. How's it smell?
It smells good. I mean, to be honest with you, and I'll smell it a little bit more here, but it's not hitting me as much in the face as like the Cascade Saint Rouge that we had not too long ago.
It's a lot more subdued. There's definitely a funk there.
Oh, I can smell the funk.
One of the things that I noted, and I think we even read it off the side of the bottle on that the Cascade that we had, is that it was there was a tartness,
a balsamic funk.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for. And there's a little bit of that funk and there's a little bit of that tartness on this one, but it's just not.
It's more it's more Brettanomyces than like Lactobacillus and Pediococcus. Yeah. So a lot of times you have sours and they really have that lacto character, that real sort of tart sourness. This one to me, and I'm imagining that when we taste it, we'll really feel that 13%. This one smells sweeter, so I think because of that sweetness, you're probably not pulling out as much tartness as you would if it were 7-8%.
Yeah. So. And I'll say in terms of tartness, I love when it comes to sours that incredibly tart beer. New Belgium Waffle Lee, little bit on the high end of the tart for me.
Yeah, but, that's like a Sour Patch Kid. It is. Well, let's drink it, man. Yeah. I'm trying to see what a 13% sour ale tastes like. This one was bottled just a little over a year ago. Interesting. So I definitely get a tartness. It's more of a Brettanomyces, like I said. I'm not getting that lacto, pedio sort of.
More of an earthy tartness.
Yeah. It really does kind of remind me, though. It's an Oud-Brun. I think it's pronounced Oud-Brun. I could be wrong, but it's definitely a Belgian sour. But again, I think it's that sweetness that's really keeping it from getting too funky.
And really, I think, you can kind of tell the way that it finishes is it starts to finish really sweet, but then that funk, that sour, just cuts it off, and then it just goes to that very kind of lacto sour drying on the back of your throat.
It is very drying. I was going to say drying. Yeah,
it doesn't hang on to the sweetness very long, so it's very sweet up front.
There's a good amount of bitterness in there too. I'm not sure if you're detecting that sort of hop bitterness at the end, and it's kind of, I guess, in conjunction with the dryness of it, but it leaves a sort of dry astringency way on the back of your throat.
The one thing I'm not getting off this? Booze. For a 13% beer, there's no booze on this thing. It's not hot at all.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? When I went out and did a little bit of research on this, just to, I like to read what other people have said about it. A lot of people talked about how boozy and hot it was, and I don't think it's hot at all. I think it's very... Well, I mean, you can tell it's been aged.
Yeah, if anything, the alcohol in it is almost subdued. I mean, it's not forefront hot. I mean, there's a little bit of hotness in, on the back of the finish, but it's 13%. It's gonna be, I mean, but that's not the primary calling card of this beer. I mean,
all right. Well, it's interesting. I mean, it's not the best beer I've ever had by far. I mean.
But it's also not the worst sour.
No, it's not. No, it's not the worst. I don't know. There's something about it that's not really wowing me.
It seems like it just hasn't quite lived up to the potential it could have had.
Well, or the expectations too. Yeah. I mean, this is a really hard beer to find. In fact, if one of my local beer managers hadn't asked me if I wanted one, I probably wouldn't even have asked for it. But he put one aside for me, thankfully enough. But yeah, I mean,
happy to try it.
It's very good. It's not great, but yeah, I mean, for 11.2 ounces, we're already done with the bottle pretty much, and I think that's a perfect amount. So.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks a lot for coming back again. I hope you enjoyed this session, and until we get together next time, my name is Mark Starr.
I'm Tim Pratt.
We'll see you.
Cheers.
Cheers.